Good evening. I'm Mark Angelini, President of Mercy Housing Lakefront. Thank you for being here with us today for Moving Forward Together. We're excited to have you celebrating with us, whether you're watching on your own, at one of the 10 watch parties taking place across the region. Later on in the program, we'll check in with some of those folks in Indianapolis and Milwaukee. As we hear from our friends and supporters from around the region, one thing to note is while Mercy Housing Lakefront is deeply committed to provide affordable housing and services to meet local needs, we are also able to apply effective solutions we've developed in one community to another across Illinois, Wisconsin, and Indiana. As an example, Susan Zwaska of US Bank and chair of our Southeast Wisconsin Partnership Board is watching with friends in Milwaukee and celebrating the continued success of Greenwich Park Apartments in Milwaukee. Greenwich Park was our first development to combine permanent supportive housing for people who have been homeless with affordable housing for working families and is the model for our new development in Indianapolis, Central Greens. We're planning to break ground on Central Greens later this fall, and John Stoles of Christopher B. Burke Engineering and a member of the Mercy Housing Lakefront Board is hosting a watch party in Indianapolis, and he'll tell you more about Central Greens later. Here in Chicago, we've been working to rehab our historic supportive housing communities on Chicago's North Side to preserve these homes for decades to come. In the spring, we had a virtual celebration of our Miriam Apartments, which was completed in 2020. We'll look forward to starting construction on the Carlton Apartments, hopefully next week. Tonight, you'll hear more about the Major Jenkins Apartments, yet a third of our permanent supportive housing properties, which is nearing completion and is the winner of this year's Wintrust Partners in Innovation Award. Throughout the upper Great Lakes region, we've built on existing partnerships and established new ones with individuals and organizations, all committed to the idea that housing creates opportunities. And it really does. Thousands of residents at Mercy Housing Lakefront, working families, seniors, and people with special needs can attest to that. Though many have experienced significant trauma in their lives and all have overcome hurdles to get where they are today, they have hope for the future. And the source of that hope is simple. There are opportunities available to them to better their lives. Service-enriched housing is the springboard our residents use to seize them. You'll hear from the Hunter family shortly about the opportunities available to them since moving into our lofts on Arthington on Chicago's West Side. After living on the edge of homelessness in a neighborhood with chronic violence, the Hunter's apartment at the Lofts isn't just where they live, it's their home. And as you'll see, it's their launching pad to a better future. Brenda Palms-Barber, CEO of North Lawndale Employment Network, is here also tonight, accepting the Spirit of Mercy Award in recognition of her impact in offering economic opportunities to many in dire straits. In addition, Brenda will join MHL Board President Phil Ashton in a conversation to share her wisdom and learnings from the many years of providing jobs and unleashing entrepreneurship for residents in the North Lawndale neighborhood of Chicago. But before that, I'd like to introduce Mercy Housing Lakefront staff members, Liz Dunn and Dominique Davis, who you will see shortly and who will be serving as today's MCs. But first, let us welcome Sister Joellen McCarthy, also a Mercy Lakefront Board member, to lead us in an invocation. Sister Joellen.
Good and gracious God, we call you by many names. However we name you, we know you are here in our midst and you desire that all persons live with dignity. We gather on this September evening, united in our commitment to make possible safe, affordable housing. The contribution that stable housing offers toward the overall well-being of persons motivates us in our work at Mercy Housing Lakefront. We gather, strengthened by the rich legacy of those who have gone before us, inspired by the hope and resiliency of the residents of Mercy Housing, encouraged by the generosity of our many donors, and sustained by the solidarity we experience with one another. At this time in history, when we are daily bombarded by images of persons made homeless through war, natural disasters, or migration to our southern border, enliven our hope as we reach out to those we can, our neighbors in Milwaukee, Indianapolis, and Chicago. We know your presence in our midst will guide our actions. Amen.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Sister Joellen. I asked Dominique to join me here tonight in emceeing this event because she and her colleagues who work directly with our residents are an inspiration. Every day, they help residents achieve their dreams. We hope you'll join us tonight in supporting that work. You can do so by texting MFT 2021 to 44321.
Thanks, Liz. It's my pleasure to be here with you all this evening. Mary Fishman is an associate of the Sisters of Mercy and a member of our board of directors. She's not here with us in person this evening because she's hosting her own watch party. But Mary recorded a video presenting Brenda Palms Barber with the Spirit of Mercy Award. Let's take a look at that video, followed by the live keynote conversation Ms. Palms Barber will have with Phil Ashton, our board president and associate professor of urban planning and policy at UIC.
Good evening. I'm Mary Fishman, board member and Mercy associate. On behalf of the Sisters of Mercy, we would like to present you with the Spirit of Mercy Award. This award is presented by Mercy Housing Lakefront to honor you for your lifetime achievement in helping to create a more humane world. As founding executive director and CEO of North Lawndale Employment Network and Sweet Beginnings, LLC, you have worked tirelessly to create opportunities for employment and to revitalize the North Lawndale community. Congratulations, Ms. Palms Barber, on such a magnificent accomplishment as you continue your work in the community.
Well, Brenda, here we are. On behalf of the board and staff of Mercy Housing Lakefront, I want to congratulate you on this award. Well deserved, and I want to give you a chance to say something if you'd like in response.
Thank you, Phil. You wouldn't know it, but I am blushing. I'm really very humbled and very honored by this opportunity. So thank you so much for the Spirit of Mercy Award, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you do at the North Lawndale Employment Network?
Sure. So I was born and raised in Tacoma, Washington. So I'm a gal from the great Northwest that found her way here in the Midwest. I grew up with a very wonderful mother who was a Lutheran minister and a very entrepreneurial grandmother who had about a 9th grade education and was an amazing entrepreneur long before we even, I think, coined the term, right? I have 3 sisters, number 2 in order, and was always excited about service. My first job was with the Tacoma YMCA and as a camp counselor, and that was to lead to a career in servant leadership.
And North Lawndale Employment Network, what brought you here and how would you describe the work that you do with them?
Oh, I love the work that I do, but what brought me here was, let me just say, the idea of trying some Chicago pizza. I actually was invited to do a workshop with the Staines Family Foundation that was exercising and testing out this concept around place-based investments. And I was working with the Annie E. Casey Foundation in partnership with the foundation I was working at, the Piton Foundation. And so I think there were some conversations about the work we were doing around informal networks and how people secure employment. So I was invited to come out and do a workshop, which was fantastic. I had some great pizza, by the way, but really was motivated and inspired by the work that was being done. And eventually, they started looking for an executive director. I think they conducted a national search, and eventually I was on their list. And I decided, well, what's a girl from the Northwest? Well, how effective can I be in the city of Chicago? But I did apply and fell in love with the vision and with being a part of a response to the great needs in this community, or in that community.
Mercy Housing Lakefront defines compassion as the ability to, or mercy, I'm sorry, as the ability to see need and to respond with compassion. I think that's one thing that people remark about you is your compassionate leadership. And I wonder what inspires you in that leadership.
Well, first of all, you know, Phil, I wanted to look up the word, what is compassionate leadership? Because I thought I really understood it, but I wanted to be sure. And so there is such a thing as the Center for Compassionate Leadership. Were you aware of that?
I was not.
I was surprised too. And I learned that they've defined it as the awareness of the suffering of others, leading to action intended to alleviate that suffering. And then it goes on to say that the effective compassion requires three elements: the awareness of others and their feelings, an empathetic response to that condition, and finally, an ability and desire to act. And so, for a moment, if you'll let me pause parenthetically, I thought that it was so apropos that this is Mercy Housing Lakefront's core value. This is who you are as an organization and as an important service. And so I was moved by that. You're helping vulnerable people secure affordable housing. We know that your friends know that, but I just have to say it. It's just such an important need. And you help them soar in ways that they perhaps wouldn't. So what inspired me? Certainly what inspires me is improving the human condition of the least of us. That moves me. And I'm also deeply moved by addressing issues of social injustice. I'll tell you a quick story about a gentleman that I interviewed, my very first applicant for a job with our social enterprise, Sweet Beginnings. And this gentleman's name was Kelman. And I sat down and I said, well, Kelman, tell me, what kind of work experience have you had? And he said, well, ma'am, I haven't had any work experience. And I thought, oh, well, what did you do that got you in trouble? And he said, well, ma'am, I was a drug dealer. And it was a little, you could see he was a little embarrassed by it. So then I thought, well, were you a good drug dealer? And he was like, well, yes, ma'am. And he kind of sat up a little taller in his seat. And so he went on to share how his skill set as a drug dealer, he had to be good at marketing. He had to know how to manage his inventory. He had to, understand competition, And he talked about all of this. And I said, Kelma, don't ever say you don't have work experience, because you did. You do. And so what was exciting for me was to begin to see people who had criminal records for their assets, and how could we transform them into something good and legal, right? And so I'm inspired by the Kelvins of life who have made poor choices, oftentimes because they had poor and limited resources or options. I'm also, as I said, about the human condition. I'm really frustrated and therefore inspired to deal with issues of poverty. And what I've learned in this work is that it's very expensive to be poor. And poverty shows up in so many ways, between the healthcare disparities that we experience, especially in Black and brown neighborhoods and people, to high rates of incarceration and arrest rates, and of course, limited and affordable access to housing. Right. So those are the things that inspire me.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
As an urban planning professor and someone who's been in Chicago now for almost 2 decades, I followed the revitalization efforts in North Lawndale with some interest.
Yeah.
Obviously, a neighborhood that had been the home for the Sears headquarters,
Yes.
but experienced some significant disinvestment over the last half of the 20th century. Now, of course, we're seeing a lot of new investments, including Mercy Housing Lakefront's own
Yes.
Lofts on Arthington, our 181-unit project that opened in 2017. How would you describe the North Lawndale Employment Network's role in this transformation?
Oh, very little, you know, because you guys do amazing work. But we did play, we hope, a meaningful role by being able to be an advocate and a voice for why we wanted to have the Lofts at Arthington in North Lawndale. And I remember Mark and Felix coming and saying, hey, you know, would you like to be a part of this conversation that we're going to have with some of these donors and funders, et cetera? And I'm like, yes, sign me up, because the need for what you all offer is so critically important. The other side of that is that we also wanted to help build a pipeline of individuals who were needing assistance with credit repair or who wanted to have stable housing but needed that financial support and coaching in place. And so we've been pleased to be a partner, you know, part of your toolbox of resources, you know, available in North Lawndale. But I proudly stand as a huge advocate and supporter of the Lofts at Arthington, as well as just Mercy Housing Lakefront in general.
Well, thank you for that.
Well, of course.
You've been a very important partner, but I wonder if I could ask, from a professional point of view, how do you see the relationship between what you do in affordable housing? Why should people who are involved in workforce development, why should they care about Mercy Housing Lakefront?
Well, they should care. First of all, they should. But I think in part because we're really sister agencies in many ways. And when families do better, communities do better. And so if we can help families secure employment and create a steady flow of income and reduce that issue of economic insecurity, and then they have a great, clean, and beautiful place to live and support their families, then we're better together. Our families are stronger, our communities are stronger. And so that's it. It's very simple. But that's why this partnership is so important, because of not only is it that we are addressing employment and housing, you know, but we also have these shared values about how we serve people. And that's important to me as well.
Right. Yeah, there's not two issues, right? There's not work and housing. There's one issue, and we really need to address it.
And we're a part of it. Yeah, we're both part of the solution to it.
That's right, that's right.
I agree.
So beyond North Lawndale, I think we've seen growing interest and attention to investment in South and West Side neighborhoods in Chicago, the city's initiative, for instance. And I wonder, from your experience in North Lawndale, what kinds of advice might you give to other organizations working in similar circumstances, whether it's neighborhoods elsewhere in Chicago or in the other cities that Mercy Housing Lakefront works in, Milwaukee and Indianapolis? What do you say to someone who wants to do this kind of work?
Ooh, not for the faint of heart, right? But I think it's understanding that we're not one single entity, that we can't do this work alone, that we have to build a network of support and collaboration. And I like to think about it as, you know, collaborative impact for collaborative results, and we do that together. The North Lawndale Employment Network is a member of the North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council. So we've literally built a coalition of residents, over 600 residents, and nonprofit organizations that have come together to develop a clear vision of what we want for our neighborhood. And I think that then has catapulted all kinds of support and unity, and really a self-esteem boost to a community that has far too well known for all of the ills of poverty rather than any of the sweet and good that I like to say that are coming out of our neighborhood. So I think that's key. Can't do it alone.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking this time. It looks like we're out of time, but I want to thank you for congratulating on the award, and
thank you.
Thank you very much for being here tonight. And I'll hand it back to Liz and Dominique.
It's my honor.
What an inspiration to the community. Please join me in giving Ms. Brenda Palms-Barber a round of applause.
Ms. Palms-Barber and Phil Ashton have described some of the transformation that has gone on in North Lawndale community. Mercy Housing Lakefront was part of that transformation with our adaptive reuse of a former Sears headquarters building, now called the Lofts on Arlington, which turned a long vacant building into 181 affordable homes. It was sure a tough project, but it got done, and it's been operating for a few years now. So next, we'd like to share a video with you that's a story of one of the families that's living there.
What'd you say?
Downsize. Pay amount. Hi, my name is Desiree Hunter.
Caleb Hunter.
Maya Hunter.
Matthias Hunter.
My name is Alia Hunter.
This place has really helped me to raise 4 amazing kids and to watch them grow in a very great place in Chicago. I found myself being a single parent of 4 kids. I moved to Chicago. I was still trying to support kids on a salary that was not really allowing my ends to meet. It was very tough and challenging, and then one day, we got keys to our first place here on the west side of Chicago. One night, my kids and I were sitting in the living room, and we heard a car go by and gunshots, and that was horrifying.
It was just a ton of stuff going on around us. We heard everything outside, like yelling and just like other types of deals going on. And it wasn't really safe for me to come back home, especially at the times that I did need to come back home in the middle of the night.
When I got to Mercy Housing, I felt like the heavens had opened up for us.
My first impression was, wow, look at that skyline. It's like, I was like, I had never seen anything like it. I was very happy that everything we had like overcome and coming to Mercy Housing, it all came to this.
It felt safe to know that my kids didn't have to worry about another drive-by shooting, didn't have to worry about not knowing who was walking around in your building.
Having stable housing has really helped because I can come back to somewhere that's quiet.
Specifically here at the Lofts, we try to serve all of the family. And so that is from our children to the head of household. Our housing and financial stability services were very important to Desiree.
There was some very shaky times for us. I was having a very challenging time paying rent. And it became so challenging that my kids and I were this close to being evicted.
Part of our financial stability program is we have financial coaches.
One of the things that got me on track was actually Tony's coaching. I know that I've taken the proper steps that propelled me to have a savings account, to actually now start a retirement account, which is something that I could not do before.
We wanted to make sure that they would learn different types of techniques like budgeting and credit building, as well as debt consolidation.
It represents so much freedom to actually be more in control instead of feeling controlled by your circumstances.
One time I was working at the Lofts and Desiree came in and I said, hello, hi Desiree, how are you? And she said, hi, how are you? She had the biggest smile. And that was so exciting because that showed me that we had done our job and helped her to remain housed and to be excited about living at the loss and prepared for the next step of her life.
I am so excited at this very moment because I am in the final class of earning a master's degree at Purdue University Global, and my major is industrial and organizational psychology.
I've just been the first in the family to get the dean's list.
One of my goals is to be the first female in my family to become a graphic designer.
As soon as I get out of high school, I want to start my own business in building computers.
When you have an opportunity to allow people to dream, then you see that they're working toward their future.
I knew that my kids could know that they were not that far from reaching their dreams as a result of coming here.
Thank you for sharing your story, Desiree, and congratulations. We appreciate you trusting us and letting us know the positive impact of our work. You've accomplished so much, and the Mercy Housing team is honored to be a part of your journey. Are there any last words you would like to share with the audience this evening?
I do. I have just a few words. Thank you so much to Mercy Housing's beloved sponsors and supporters. And one of the things that I would like to ask is, just this one question, is do you believe in miracles? I hope you do, because you just witnessed 5 miracles in my kids. And I'm so grateful that as you can see the results of what happens when a family like mine is offered the opportunity to have affordable housing when you're trying to figure it out. I say that this has been a moment, a period of time, that it was a safe place to make mistakes, and it was a safe place to grow, and to grow a lot. And just from talking to some of the residents, you know, as we're passing by in the elevator or in a parking lot, it gives an opportunity for us to kind of reflect on our journeys and what we've had here. And one of the things that I'm reminded of each time I have a conversation with someone is the words of what Oprah Winfrey said, and is this: we are all more alike than we are different. And we all want great education for our kids, and we want to be able to travel with our families. We want to be able, again, to have that place to make mistakes, a safe place, and then a safe place to be able to grow and to learn from those mistakes. And I am so grateful for this opportunity because it was a blessing to me and my family. And not just me and my family, but other families as well who are wanting to grow in their lives as well. And I just want to thank you so much for your support, to continue to support families like me and the other families that are in the loft on Arthurton.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
The work that we've done during COVID has been particularly challenging. So it's really meaningful to hear about how services has made a difference to you and your family.
Yeah, it makes it all worthwhile. And I think too, in addition to staff, it's important to help people who are donating understand the impact. And I think Desiree just said it much better than anything I was going to say. But in the past year, private donations from individual donors like all of you have helped support families like Desiree's with financial stability for parents and out-of-school time supports for their children.
In supportive housing communities like where I work, case managers help residents who have disabilities and have experienced long-term homelessness to maintain housing stability and set and achieve individual goals.
And in our senior communities, the service coordinators help residents access healthcare and food and creatively combat isolation. Across all of our communities, individual donations fuel this incredible work.
So that impact is true every day. But I'm wondering, Liz, Is there a particular reason why people should donate this evening?
Well, I was moved by Desiree's story, but also we happen to have a match from an anonymous donor we're hoping to fulfill with this event. We have over $10,000 left to raise and new and increased donations to meet that match. So if you haven't donated before, you're a potential new donor, or considering increasing your gift, those funds will be matched dollar for dollar. You can double your impact by giving today. Once again, text MFT 2021 to 44321. We'll check back in later on in the program on our progress and recognize some of those donors as the donations come rolling in.
Next up, we have Cassandra Slade, Senior Vice President of Wintrust Community Impact, is here to present the Wintrust Partners in Innovation Award.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cassandra Slade. I'm a Senior Vice President, Wintrust Community Impact at Wintrust Financial Corporation. The Wintrust Partners in Innovation Award is presented annually to recognize an innovative community development collaboration. This year, we are honoring the financial and development partners that are contributing to the rehab of the 156-unit Major Jenkins Apartments in Chicago's Uptown community on the North Side. The innovative project incorporated a complex financing structure, historic preservation elements, service space enhancements that were responsive to resident input, and building-wide Wi-Fi internet access. As the project was approaching closing in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic emerged, and the relocation and construction plans were adapted to better accommodate social distancing. The work of the Major Jenkins Apartments partners has provided hope, healing, and much-needed quality affordable housing to those in need of supportive housing. For their creativity, commitment, and perseverance, we are proud to honor Applegate and Thorne Thompson, Associated Bank, City Community Capital, City of Chicago, Clock Tower Tax Credits, Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago, HUD, Illinois Housing Development Authority, Land and Bone Banker Architects, Lynn Matz, Inc., McRosty Historic Advisors, RBC, John and Kathleen Schreiber Foundation, Thresholds, and Urban Relocation Services. Please join me in congratulating the honorees, whether here in person with us or tuning in remotely.
We so appreciate all these partners here with us today and thank all of those watching at home. Thank you all so much for your partnership.
Now, we'd like to take a moment to check in with our Indianapolis watch party, where John Stoltz, one of our board members, is hosting. John, can you tell us a bit about what you're celebrating there in Indianapolis?
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'd be very, very happy to. I happen to be here with several friends and family in Indianapolis, sharing the message of Mercy Housing Lakefront. While currently outside, it's very windy and rainy, but the conditions inside are terrific, and we're having a very good time. And we really appreciate the opportunity to share what's going on a little bit here in Indianapolis and Indiana with everyone. So we're trying to take some time to learn a little bit more about what what everybody's doing with the organization and affordable housing in the Indianapolis area. Our mission to create stable and vibrant and healthy communities is expanding, and we're very excited about what's happening locally too. And we want to share a little bit. We're looking forward to breaking ground this fall on a new development called Central Greens here in Indianapolis. We hope to share more information soon, but Central Greens will be home to 121 working families and 35 people who have been homeless. This development is part of a local strategy to address homelessness, and local leaders are very excited with the project. And with the partnership making this possible includes state, city, a lot of local officials, along with the Central Indiana Community Foundation and many others. So we're very excited about that and what it's bringing to the community and improving the situation locally. It's a great message that this work focuses on the resident and the services available to help people who face the most complex challenges to live with stability, autonomy, and dignity. So we thank everyone for what you are doing and look forward to sharing more good news of what's happening here in Indiana and locally, and we hope everyone has a great night. Thank you for giving us a chance to share.
It's really interesting to hear about our first new development in Indianapolis. I'll be excited to hear when that breaks ground.
I definitely agree. Thanks to John for checking in with us. Next up, we want to check in on Milwaukee. We have a few watch parties going on in Milwaukee, as well as many partnership board members and supporters watching online. Suzanne Zwaska, chair of our Southeast Wisconsin Partnership Board and vice president at US Bank, sent ahead a video as well. While we love celebrating the housing part of what we do, Suzanne wanted to speak to the phenomenal work our on-site staff have been doing with the residents on a daily basis, and particularly over the past year and a half.
Hello, I am Suzanne Zawaska, Community Affairs Manager for US Bank in Wisconsin. My colleague Janice Bolton, the Community Affairs Manager for Illinois, and I have had the privilege of supporting Mercy Housing through our corporate social responsibility strategy for many years in both states. We have witnessed firsthand the phenomenal positive impacts Mercy has had on its residents. It is because of the dedication and excellence Mercy Housing provides through its supportive housing model that serves so many of our residents, we continue to be a key partner. During this horrible pandemic, so many Mercy Housing residents continue to receive the physical, financial, and emotional support required to meet the challenges already presented, but moved above and beyond in care of residents experiencing job loss, isolation, and the many mental health issues exacerbated by the pandemic. US Bank proudly continues to partner and unite in supporting Mercy Housing and their critical work, answering the needs of so many in our communities. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Dominique, what do you think hearing from a partner like that who recognizes the incredible dedication and creativity of our on-site staff during these challenging times?
Well, Liz, if I had my phone on me, I'd text MFT 2021 to 44321. But in all seriousness, I'm proud of the work that we do and grateful for the donors who help make it all possible.
I agree. It's just incredible the impact donors help us to accomplish. Let's take a moment to recognize some of them as the donations come in. I see some members of our board who I know are watching remotely and have been getting friends and family involved. Steve Thomas, Mary Fishman, George Adams, and separate donations from George's family members, Faye and Christina. Those are completely new donations and will definitely be matched. That's great of George that he was reaching out. I also see Phil DeSalvo.
Joellen McCarthy is here with us this evening. Thank you, Joellen.
Thanks, Joellen. I noticed a few former board members, John Powell, his wife Susan, Charlie Hoke and his wife Susan Stahl. Thank you for your continued generous support even after you've left our board. We have some Wisconsin folks, Bob Connolly, John and Kathleen Newberger, and Indiana, John Stoltz, who was checking in with us. His parents have donated. Thanks, John's parents.
Some staff, Ryan Vega and his parents, Sandra and Manuel, Taronda and Frank Hudson.
And, you know, Cheryl O'Brien. I saw Cheryl O'Brien on there. So some more new names. These donations will definitely be matched. Frida Varlas, Joseph Florence, Carol Conway. It's really exciting to see new donors come in. You know, it's like the Girl Scouts, you know, make new friends. You know, one's gold and one's silver.
I wasn't a Girl Scout.
No. So yeah, we appreciate all of the continued support and new donors as well to help us meet that match. Before we go, I would like to thank all of the generous donors I didn't get a chance to name, everyone who helped make this event possible, and those of you who regularly support Mercy Housing Lakefront. We are grateful for all that you do. We are especially thankful for our Moving Forward Together sponsors, Wintrust, our award sponsor, our community builders, US Bank and Northern Trust, and all of the sponsors we've seen throughout tonight's program. And we'll remind you who they are again at the end of the show, so stick around. Our work would not be possible without each and every one of them.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. We hope you enjoyed the entire event, but particularly the conversation between Ms. Brenda Palms-Barber and Phil Ashton. Thanks to both of them for taking the time to be with us this evening and for their thought-provoking conversation.
Thank you, everyone. We hope you'll take away the story of the Hunter family. Remember them. They are literally and figuratively in a better place, and that would not be possible without your support. Remember, housing creates opportunity. Thanks again to our friends here in the studio, those watching at home and at one of our organized watch parties. We're grateful. Have a great evening. We'll see you next year.